In 2022, an estimated 0.2% of 8th graders, 0.3% of 10th graders, and 0.5% of 12th graders in the United States reported using methamphetamine in the past 12 months. In this video, we will explain what methamphetamine is and the signs of meth addiction. We'll also discuss treatment options for overcoming meth addiction. If you haven't been living under a rock until now, you've at least heard about the drug that's commonly referred to as meth. Meth has many other aliases though, like crystal, crystal meth, ice, glass, crank, tina, and speed, just to name a few. Regardless of its name, it is a drug that has devastating effects on the person who uses it. Like everything else in this world, meth too has a history. So let's take a look at the timeline. Meth was first synthesized by a Japanese chemist, Nagai Nagayoshi, in 1919. I bet when he discovered meth, he had no idea that 104 years later, it would become the destructive force it is today. Initially, it was used in nasal decongestants and inhalers to help with congestion and breathing. Then in the 1930s and 1940s, various militaries around the world started using it to keep soldiers awake and alert. During the 50s and 60s, methamphetamine became popular as a prescription drug for weight loss and narcolepsy. And here's when things start to take a turn for the worse. From the 1960s to 1980s, the wrong kind of people start to illegally produce meth. Obviously, at that point, some bad people start to take notice of this and they get involved in mass producing crystal meth, aka ice. Fast forward to the meth epidemic in the 2000s. People started abusing meth so much in the 2000s that it became an epidemic in the United States. Unfortunately, the epidemic that started in the 2000s is still here. According to the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, in 1999, 608 deaths were caused by meth use in the United States. In 2021, that number increased to 52,397. Globally, these numbers are even more staggering, and the meth train shows no sign of stopping anytime soon. So what exactly is meth? It's a powerful and highly addictive central nervous system stimulant. This isn't the kind of stuff you'll find in nature, it's completely synthetic. Methamphetamine is commonly found in either crystal or powder forms. In its crystal form, it looks like small glassy rocks, whereas in the powder form, it's a white, odorless powder with a bitter taste. Now that you know how meth got started and what it is, let's talk about its effects on the body. For this, I want you to imagine a healthy, thriving 17-year-old boy named John. John is a senior in high school. One day at a party, John's friends tells him about meth. His friend says some great things about meth and tells John to give it a go. So trusting his friend, John decides to try meth for the first time. Here's what happens. Meth affects the brain and the body by increasing the release and blocking the reuptake of neurotransmitters like dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. When John consumes meth, it stimulates the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine from nerve endings in the brain. Dopamine is the feel-good hormone. Dopamine is what makes us want to keep doing things that makes us feel good. Funny thing about meth is that after it stimulates the release of dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin, it stops the neuron from taking back the extra leftover neurotransmitters. That leaves John's brain with more neurotransmitters than he needs. All the extra neurotransmitters hanging around in John's brain make John feel euphoric and makes him feel energized and alert. Next, John's central nervous system starts to feel the effects. His heart rate increases, his blood pressure goes up, and he starts breathing faster. Now that John feels good after using meth once, he's going to keep using meth to get the same feeling. Over time, as John seeks more and more of the same feeling, he starts to develop an addiction to meth. Unfortunately, what John's friends doesn't tell him is that the euphoric effect of meth wears off after a while. Meth has a half-life of about 9 to 24 hours, meaning it takes that long for half the drug to leave the body. When this happens, it's called a crash. During the crash, users feel tired, moody, irritable, hungry, anxious, and have trouble concentrating. Experiencing the crash is tough, and it's what often leads to addiction. The discomfort is so bad that users may use more meth to feel the euphoric, on top of the world feeling again and again. So now what? What happens to the body once it becomes addicted? All drugs can harm the body, and there are clear signs that show when someone is addicted. Meth is no exception. Clear signs of meth addiction includes unhealthy skin, significant weight loss, skin sores, and itching. Internally, meth addiction can lead to exhaustion, tiredness, irregular heartbeat, high blood pressure, faster heart rate, and high body temperatures. Long-term use can also cause severe mental health issues like paranoia, irritability, chronic insomnia, nervousness, or hyperactivity. Despite these terrible effects, quitting meth is really tough. As a substance abuse counselor, I've seen many clients struggle with meth addiction. Even when they know how much it messes up their lives, breaking the habit feels like a constant battle. Every attempt to quit is like being pulled back into the same loop, trying, failing, and feeling more and more worn out. After a while, some folks just throw in the towel because the disappointment of failing repeatedly can be too overwhelming for some. But something I noticed in all the clients I've worked with over the years is that the ones who continue to have hope, despite things not going their way, were the ones that ultimately succeeded. It's like the saying goes, hope keeps us alive. Now, that brings us to the question of how do we treat meth addiction? Various treatment options are available for people struggling with meth addiction. These include cognitive behavioral therapy, individual counseling, residential treatment, and harm reduction strategies. One of the first treatment options to explore for meth addiction is to safely detox in an inpatient setting where medical professionals can monitor the progress. The silver lining with stimulant withdrawal is that unlike substances like alcohol, opioids, and sedatives, meth is typically less physically dangerous. Even though it is extremely uncomfortable, detoxing from meth can be done safely in an inpatient setting under the care of a medical professional. But detox is not the end of addiction. It's the beginning of lifelong recovery. In order to really deal with addiction, it's important to seek the help of a therapist to understand triggers, implement healthy coping strategies, and learn about the maladaptive behavior patterns that's led to the addiction in the first place. Another treatment model that's been shown to have an effect in reducing meth misuse is the matrix model. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, this is a comprehensive treatment approach that combines behavioral therapy, family education, individual counseling, 12-step support, drug testing, and encouragement for non-drug-related activities. That's not all. There are also various other treatment options being explored and in the works. In fact, NIDA reports that a methamphetamine vaccine is being considered to treat meth addiction. This vaccine would engage the body's immune system to block the drug from reaching the brain. This is currently being tested in animals. Another clinical trial is testing a substance called monoclonal antibody, which binds to methamphetamine and stops its effects before it can affect the body. There are several other treatment options available that you can read more about, so please feel free to click on the link in the description to find out more. Overdose is a major cause of death in the United States and around the world. In fact, NIDA reports that more than 106,000 lives have been lost due to drug-related overdose in the United States in the year 2021. Meth-related overdoses too continue to increase, with 32,537 losing their battle with addiction in 2021. So share this video with someone who could benefit from learning this information, and pass it on to as many people as possible to spread the word about the impact of meth addiction. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Don't forget to hit the like button if you found this information valuable and useful. As always, Spread loving kindness to all beings around you and be the change you want to see in the world. Thank you for watching. See you next time.